Well, I'll let you take this question first. What is the most important game to win
Okay, so
for you?
as the football coach in me, I want to just say, "Oh, game one, UTEP," but I can look past that a little bit. This is kind of more from a fan's perspective. I'd say Colorado, and not just because it's a rivalry game, not because any of that. Here's why I say Colorado is no matter what you think about how Colorado is going to do, I've seen there's predictions all over the place with that polarizing team, right? Some
Yeah,
think they're going to be amazing, some think they're going to be terrible. I think one thing you cannot deny, though, is they have athletes, especially at the skill position. I
yeah,
think no matter, even if you think they're not going to win a game this year, I don't see how you can deny that.
yeah,
So something that obviously I want to win that game more than probably any of them. I think that will be a really good test for us. Our defensive, how do we do against the pass and against the speed? That's
yeah.
something that although I am obviously looking at the scoreboard, I'm more interested to see on how does our man coverage look against those athletes.
Correct. Yep.
And something that Nebraska did do towards the back end of that season is they mixed in a lot of more man coverage.
Yep.
They were about 50-50, I'd say, between cover three, cover one. And although those are similar looks, they're still two different concepts.
Exactly.
And I want to see how our cover one looks do against Colorado. That's something that I'm really interested in seeing. Because like I said, no matter what you think about them as a team overall, I I think you can't deny that they have speed and athleticism at those skill positions.
Yeah.
So how does our secondary match up against that?
Correct. Yeah. I think Colorado is very important for a number of
Mhm.
reasons. And I'll give you my answer in just a second. But you know, just trying to not answer Colorado. But one of the other reasons why it's very important is just it's Dylan Raiola's. And I want to say this in a way where people don't think because I'm not like looking past Colorado. I just don't think
Mhm.
Colorado's enough of a unit to beat Nebraska
Mhm.
right now. Losing 40 players in the portal isn't going to do
Mhm.
that. You know, they were under on scholarships. I think they were at 72 when I checked 3 weeks ago of the 85 limit.
Yeah, I saw a
So,
thing from Husker. Sorry to cut you off, but
no,
I
you're good.
saw a thing the other day that Nebraska might have more incoming or more freshmen, including redshirt and true freshmen, than Colorado ends up having on their roster. That may
Yeah,
end up switching,
82.
but that's crazy.
I think Nebraska's 82 freshmen. That's what Matt Rule said
Mhm.
on the thing with Joel Klatt yesterday.
Yeah.
But it gives him a potential to get in there and have a primetime game against a team that isn't necessarily like it's going to be a huge game, almost as if Ohio State or Michigan was there, but it's not an Ohio State or Michigan. So he gets a chance to go out there against a team that Nebraska opened as a 6.5 point favorite against, go out there in prime time and be able to get that under his belt, get that big
Mhm.
game environment, that prime time environment under his belt so he sees what that's like against a team that probably will be a lot more favorable than other primetime games he will
Mhm.
face. I personally look to USC. And the reason I
Mhm.
look to USC, and let me put our overlay back up here so you can see who we are. Um, One of the reasons I look at USC as that game is because I think USC right now is the ultimate kind of like in fighting terms, we call it a gatekeeper, right? A
Mhm. Mhm.
gatekeeper is somebody who's not quite good enough to win it all, right? But they're right there and they'll probably never win it all, but they're that test for the younger people to come up, the prospects to come up and fight to see if they can beat the legend, the experienced guy going. So in a way, to me, they are that because they're working their way back up too, but they're kind of ahead of kind of where
Mhm.
Nebraska is in terms of that process. And theirs is just it's a defense that is going through a defensive change and transition. So can Nebraska, with their good defense going up against a defense that's probably not going to be as good as theirs, but with an offense that's going to be probably pretty good. Miller Moss is a really good quarterback to be able to go in there and keep up with that offense and be able to take one of those games in a stretch that's going to be very, very difficult.
Mhm.
You have Ohio State, USC, UCLA, Wisconsin, and Iowa all right there at the
Yeah.
back end of the
Yeah.
schedule. And so you don't want to run off another instance where you lose in the back half of that schedule because a lot of people are going to pay attention to how Nebraska finishes. I think the USC game is very good to set the tone and see because I think that win would look very good
Mhm.
on Nebraska's resume. So, and I just think that would set us up for the rest of the season pretty well, and that we won't have that panic setting in, like late
Mhm.
season collapse and all this other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think the USC might be a good game to prevent an eventual slide or anything like that. So it's USC for me outside of Colorado